And a big thank you to Barry Coleman for another great Brekkie show this morning. And it's good morning and welcome to you, our listener, for our Wednesday morning talkback. As I welcome the Mayor of Tweed City to the 4CRB microphone, it's a very good morning to Mayor Chris Cherry. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Wayne.
Well, before we start, congratulations on another term as Mayor of a very, very busy Tweed Shire Council.
Thank you very much, Wayne. I'm honoured to be back here.
That's tremendous, Chris. And Chris, I wonder, before we start, could I throw this at you? What was the most satisfying achievement for the last term of office? Is there something that stood out for you?
Certainly our last term was dominated by the flood recovery, so obviously getting smashed in the 2022 floods, that really dominated a lot of the works council could do over the following couple of years. So I actually think in terms of achievements, being able, seeing how council clicked in, ensured the safe water, ensured the rubbish was collected,
yes,
and really helped the community to get over it. That was probably something I'm most proud of.
Yes, a very testing time for all councillors in the Shire and all the people behind the councillors as well. And what can we look forward to as a major objective for the new term, Chris?
For me, I think in the housing crisis that we are in, we need to focus all our energies on trying to deliver affordable housing out there in our Shire. So I think that's what our community is crying out for, and that's certainly what we'll focus on.
Okay, well, look, we look forward to that and a very successful term for you. All right, to you, our listener, though, you've got another opportunity to be able to raise any questions you might have on the Tweed Shire, and you as a resident of the Tweed, you can talk directly to the Mayor this morning on 5520 8888. You can call us at any time. We're going to chat about a few things, but this is your program. This is your opportunity to talk directly to the Mayor of the Tweed and maybe air something that you're not too happy with, or maybe congratulate her on a new term in office. Whatever it is, you can do it right now on 5520 8888. Hey, Chris, before we get into our set list that we had to have a chat about, might be worthwhile making a mention on the Mawulumba show. It's on this Friday and Saturday.
Absolutely. This weekend we're expecting a lot of people to come. There's basically, we've got the rodeo, we've got the bike jumping displays, we've got all of the agricultural produce and animals there. We've got lots of rides. We've really got something for everyone. So I'd encourage everyone to come along. It's Friday and Saturday, and hopefully the weather is good to us.
I'm sure it will. It doesn't look too bad at this stage, so that'll be terrific. What a great weekend out at the Tweed, at the Mawulumba, show that's happening this Friday and Saturday. And everyone's trying to get into the Tweed. Even a poor old whale got washed up on your beach this week.
Yeah, that was pretty sad for us, obviously, seeing a big whale. He was about 10 metres long, being washed in a fairly decomposed condition. And so obviously, that creates a safety issue for surfers and swimmers in our area to have that there, attracting kind of predator animals coming in. And so it did wash up on the Crown land area rather than Council's land. And so that meant that it was National Parks and Wildlife who was in charge of the operation.
Yes.
They had to get approvals to bury the whale, and they've done that. They have done those works yesterday, and they've buried the whale above the high water mark and, quite as deep as possible, so that it won't create any safety hazard for future swimmers or surfers.
And it passed away due to natural causes. It wasn't caught in nets or anything else that might be sinister out there.
As far as we can work out, that's right.
Yes, okay, that's a sad occasion. Such a big animal as well. Okay, all right then. Look, let's start on a few topics for the Tweed. Community Talkback informs the future on the future of housing and employment opportunities in the Tweed. And this is something you do very regularly too, which I think is quite impressive. You seek community feedback directly from the residents before really moving into full speed on any issue in the Tweed. It's a great process that you follow down there. But when does that get underway?
Yeah, so at the moment, as you say, we're working on our growth management housing strategy, and we'd much rather hear from our community now at the strategic level about what they want to see and how they want to see the Shire grow than, have people surprised by a development that's right next door to them that creates then a lot of controversy. We all know how upsetting that can be out in a community, so we want people to tell us now how they want to see the development go further into the Shire, and we obviously need to provide housing. Everybody understands that we just simply don't have enough, and we don't have enough of the right kind. So we need to work out where that housing can be. And so at the moment we're doing our options paper, and that will come out to the community by the end of the year. And then we will put that into the strategy, which will then go back out to the community again in early next year. And so what we've heard so far from the community, we got over 600 submissions of people writing in and saying what they thought of the options that we put out to the people. And so now we're going through those submissions, and we're going to decide, okay, what options do the community support, and what will we move forward with as we grow. So it's a really important thing that it's a whole of community decision.
Yes, I think it's a particularly good process that you follow. Do you get it? It does help not having to go to court too after the event, doesn't it? Which is a far more expensive process, going down the legal journey of residents getting together and making a claim through the courts.
Absolutely. I mean, I have to say that we do have a very high legal bill at the moment, and it's unfortunately part and parcel of doing business. As a council at the moment, there's a very kind of litigious idea out there in the community. People don't want to pay fines, and they contest them in court, and they want to take us to court if we refuse anything or if they don't like conditions of consent. So it is very difficult for council to manage that legal bill. But this is certainly a way of being proactive and trying to manage people's expectations and what kind of applications are going to come to us in the future.
And residents, I think a message out to all residents in every shire, it's better to work together than separately.
Oh, absolutely. We're so much stronger together.
Okay, Chris, we have our first caller. It's good morning to... Yes, it's good morning to Diane. Diane, what's your question for the Mayor?
Well, I'm a resident of Tweed, and I was just going to ask her about the rubbish that people leave and dump everywhere and dump in creeks, and it just gets out of control with all the rubbish. Can't they, have cameras or get them fines and make people pay for their rubbish that they dump everywhere?
Chris, are you there? Okay, it's a very good question, Diane. It looks like we've just got a small technical issue there. Chris, Chris, did you hear the question? Okay. All right. Look, Diane, can you just stand by for a second and just we'll just see what we can do there. Chris, are you there? Okay. All right. We'll just go to a brief piece of music so I can get my telecom hat on and see what I can do to iron out the difficulties there on that phone call situation. Chris, are you back?
Yes, no problems, Wayne.
Oh, good, terrific. And Diane, are you there? No, Diane, I can understand that. Diane, I'm sure you're listening to your radio now. Chris did hear your question, and it was a very good question because that will be an issue that's ongoing in every council throughout Australia. Chris, what do you think?
Oh, thanks so much, Wayne, and thank you to Diane for that question. it is a very real issue. You know, I honestly can't fathom what's going on in people's heads when they illegally dump things that in our bush areas or along streets and in creeks, like Diane was saying. So we do try to get on top of that very quickly. When people report, we do need people to report it to us. So call the council up if you see a pile of rubbish and let us know so that we can come and collect it as soon as possible. Because obviously, leaving rubbish on the street encourages other people to dump more, unfortunately. So that, you know, sometimes they'll think it's a council clean-up, so they'll just add their rubbish to it, which is not something we want to see at all. So, yeah, if we can get your help with this in terms of reporting it, then we can get on top of it better.
And Chris, in the process, there are substantial fines for littering, aren't there?
Oh, absolutely, and certainly for illegal dumping as well. So it's just when we get a pile like that, we do forensically go through it and try and identify where that might have come from. And if we can do that at all, then we will get in touch with those people and give them a fine.
Good. Okay, let's hope that message gets through to everyone throughout the Shire. Just before we move on from our initial discussion we had on the future housing and employment opportunities that are available in the Tweed and you seeking community input into that. The homelessness issue is the same for the Tweed Shire as it is for the Gold Coast area. It seems to be increasing each year. Are you experiencing that similar situation?
Absolutely. We are seeing people in very dire straits, and they're, you know, living in kind of makeshift shelters in parks, living in their cars, and it's really a symptom of the cost of living crisis that we're in and
Yes.
the lack of affordable housing. So what council can do is try to make sure that we can get like small and affordable housing available for people, and try and, we have an outreach service to try and connect those homeless people up with services to try and help them in their time when they're really suffering.
Yes, it's a very bad part of the current lifestyle issues that we have here in this country as a nation, that the percentage of homeless people is increasing every year, and certainly something that we hope can be changed in the future. Chris, one of your achievements for the last term was the recovery from the flood situation that we experienced in 2022, was it? That the flood...
Yes, February 2020.
Yeah. The Kyogle Road flood restoration has taken another major step forward, because that was a big project for you, wasn't it?
Absolutely. So we've got 3 or 4 different restoration sites in that area around Kyogle Road that together those repairs are costing $38 million. So these are massive projects, and they've been, you know, at one lane access only, and the community has been incredibly patient. So we're moving forward to get dual lanes open in a number of those places at the moment, and that's really good news in terms of another step forward in our flood recovery, because a lot of the people, you know, if you're in Tweed or along the coast, you don't really realise that there's so much flood repair still happening in the hinterland, and this is part of that, and it's a great thing that the New South Wales and federal government have funded these very, very expensive repairs.
Yes, a great step forward. And before we move on from that, I believe you've got 6 new flood monitoring cameras for the Tweed. What role exactly will they play?
Look, these are a fantastic initiative that came out of the 2022 flood, where we've installed cameras in 6 locations, and we've just last week announced 6 new ones, where in key spots along different roads that always flood, the SES have kind of joined us and told us these are really strategic places that our community need to know about if they're flooded. The idea is that you can get on our website, click on the flood camera and see exactly what's happening, and actually see what's happened over the last 4 hours. So you can see how fast the flood water is rising, and you can, you know, it allows you to make a decision. If you've got kids at school or you need to get home from work, you can look at that road and know whether you need to go now or whether you can't go through that area and have to go a different way around. So it's just giving people the information that they need to keep safe in a flood.
Very, very good technology being applied there. And you've applied it also to people assessing road conditions as well.
Absolutely, and so it allows our council officers and staff to see what repairs are going to be needed too. So, yeah, they're really, really useful cameras.
Absolutely, the great use of technology there. And moving now away from the flood situations, there's also a proposal out with the community to allow functions at the Salt Surf Life Saving Club. I'm sure they'd be happy about that, to get that underway. That's a good addition or a good source of income for them to help save more lives.
Absolutely. I mean, we all love our Surf Life Saving Club, and they do operate on a very, very small budget. And, you know, all of the volunteers, you don't want them to be spending their time having to raise money just to run the centre and provide the services. So this is a proposal to try to allow them to hold functions so that they can have community birthdays there and different functions and meetings. And that allows them a source of income to just make their operations sustainable. So I think, you know, we're helping them to help us. So it's a great opportunity.
A very proactive move to get additional income for them will make a big difference to their operation and the safety of residents around that area. It's a boom area, there's no doubt about that. And
That's for sure.
The new hospital is open and up now and well and truly in the community. Have you had feedback from anyone that concerning their attendance there and how good it is?
Look, I think people are having really positive experiences going with the service that's being provided. I think the experience in the rooms, the staff are amazing. The
Yes.
only issue that we're getting here feedback in terms of negative feedback is the parking, and you know, certainly I hope that Health New South Wales has a plan to try to address that.
Yes.
Because obviously, if you're attending the hospital to visit a loved one that's being treated for cancer or something, you really need to just be able to safely get there, safely park and deal with the sad situation that you might have to be dealing with.
It appears to be a common problem with all new hospital developments that are up and hospitals in general. But feedback that we've actually got from a couple of people that have attended the hospital down there is the comment is it's huge. It is huge.
It is.
And
it is absolutely massive.
But it moves at military precision. They're talking. It might be huge, but you feel as if you get in and you get attention and you're moved on and you're put into a set area. The planning that they've done to move patients around to each category has been, I think, has worked brilliantly well.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, and I've got only compliments for that side of the operations. Absolutely,
just terrific. And there was a bit of pain getting into it, Chris, but it's turned out to be a great addition to the lifestyle of all the Tweed residents.
Absolutely, and it's certainly going to change Kingscliff and Kings Forest in terms of having that as a centre for employment there. So we will see how we are able to protect the agricultural land that surrounds it and see what happens there into the future.
Yes, I'm sure it will blend in, as they say. And speaking of hospitals, what's your point of view on have we got it right on ageing well? Because all levels of government are very much involved in the ageing process for individual ratepayers that they service. Absolutely.
I think it's what we're going out to the community to ask. Are we getting it right? What do you want to see? I mean, ageing is the one thing we can all be assured of,
yes.
and we are all going to experience. And so this is dealing with everybody in our community is going to have to think about the services that are provided for them as they age. And so we're kind of putting a strategy out to the people at the moment, and it's open for feedback until the 15th of November. And we're just saying this is our blueprint for the future on how council will support residents that are aged 55 and above, and how they're going to live healthy, active and connected lives, and how we can support that happening. So, it's really important to make sure that as we age, and I'm about to be in that over 55 year category, that we make sure that we stay really connected and don't get isolated, that there's plenty of opportunities for us to connect and be really healthy and fit and active.
Chris, can you? What are some of the aspects that you can really make a difference? Have you identified any of those at this stage, or is it too early to identify sectors of the ageing community that local governments can improve?
Well, some of the key things that we want to do are to create a seniors advisory group, so kind of can tell council in all different projects how we might be able to do things better to make things more accessible for those who are ageing. And it was an interesting thing standing at the election booths during pre-poll and seeing just how many people in our community are walking with walkers or coming in wheelchairs and having just those really basic issues with mobility. Really brought home to me how important it is that we get our connected pedestrian footpaths right, and how we make sure our doorways are wide enough and that kind of thing. It's really important. And I think that if we can talk to the people about what they want to see, that's the way we will be able to actually make the difference on the ground.
And I guess one of the major things that you can impact is the number of parking spaces for the permits for parking close to the shopping centre front door, and seeing that they are used in the right way. I guess they would have to be constantly reviewed with the increase in the numbers of the ageing sector of our community. You don't have to be at 90 years of age to be in need of those parking spaces. It can be someone who's got a disability of some description. So that do they get reviewed regularly, Chris, in terms of their demand being put on them?
Look, they don't actually, and that's probably a really good point to raise, because they generally, the numbers get put in when a development application is approved. Yes. And it's very hard to retrospectively then say, okay, you need more now. But obviously the ones that are provided just on the street by council do get reviewed, and we do look at and make sure we're providing as many as is needed. But, this strategy shows that over the next 25 years, the number of residents aged 65 years and over in our Shire is actually expected to double. So this is a really important thing, and we've already got twice the state average in terms of over 65-year-olds. So, I think it's a great climate, it's a great place to live, and we need to make sure that it's a safe and active, connected place for our older people to live.
It sounds like you're on the right track there. Before we close our program this morning, Chris, a couple of quick ones for you. Clothier Creek Road, improving safety along that road, in what way?
Absolutely. So for everybody that travels Clothiers Creek Road, you know that we have a 70-kilometre speed limit there because of the winding nature of the road, how dangerous it is, and it's a major koala corridor as well. And so we are trying to keep our people safe. So what we've put up is those interactive speed signs that just flash up when you're going past, a green koala face if you are below the speed limit, and unfortunately a red koala face and a red slow down if you are above it. So I'd urge everybody to make sure you don't see the red koala sad face.
No, let's keep the koala smiling. It's so important. Hey, Chris, a very informative program. Thank you so much for making the time. I know you've got a very busy diary, so thank you for making the time to join us here at 4CRB. And next time we'll dedicate a lot more time to our listeners so that they can phone and have a chat with you. Look forward to seeing you next month, Chris.
I'll look forward to that as well. Thank you so much, Wayne.
Thanks, Chris. Bye now.